This is the Puerto Rican Punisher Baby telling you to check out Chop's videos on YouTube. He's got the best collection of classics in New England wrestling and professional wrestling in general. So go ahead, subscribe, give him a follow, give him a like, and hit the bell notification so that you get the latest videos when they drop. Y no te olvides que guste o no te guste, Chop Videos, esa es la que hay.
After EWA, you were bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah, just bouncing around and legitimately in '99, like I took on I took on the Fonz's jacket man, and here's fucking Chachi taking over Fonzie's jacket. You know what I mean? People who know Tony, man, Tony Rumble's the in my Tony Rumble's the coolest fucking promoter I ever met in my whole life. Coolest dude I ever met in my life. Like,
how did the whole explain to me the CWA thing and the NWA thing and how you got close to Tony? I know you mentioned you started riding with him and stuff, but explain your relationship a little bit, like how you two got close.
All right. So after Tony felt that, realized the connection that him and I, had on a level, I think it was the comfortability to be around me because he liked to smoke weed. I like to smoke weed. It's I used to be his provider, and I'll just keep it at that for it. I loved betting football games. He loved betting football games. So we had this bond. He enjoyed driving with me. He liked talking with me. His family liked me. Hence the reason why that legitimately when he passed, it's the truest story that I tell. I went over to the house. I used to go over on Thursday nights regardless. Well, even before Tony passed away. They loved Friends. It used to be a favorite show of mine. And every Thursday is when I made my delivery to Tony. So they'd invite me in for dinner. I'd eat with the family. And so Tony passes away. We skip to that summer. And the big outstanding war was him with Rocky Raymond and stealing the name. And Ellen, Donna, and Michelle, which Ellen's his wife, Donna is two daughters. When I thought it was weird because Donna lived with Ellen, but Michelle was married and she lived 45 minutes away from Revere to Wilmington, you know what I mean? So she had to take a half-hour ride. So I thought it was odd that she was over just on a specific night, so to speak, just to come over. So they hovered around me, and they're like, Ellen goes, Jason, all three of us have decided, and we're not going to accept no for an answer, that from this point on, you will be recognized as the son of Tony Rumble. You are the Boston bad boy, Jason Rumble. You grew up on the corner of LaGrange and some other street, and you lived on the top. You lived on the apartment on top of the hot dog stand, and that was a legit. That I kid you not. I was told I was not able to refuse it. They were like, you remind us so much of Tony that we're giving that name to you, and you can't say no. So from that day right there, I was adopted by the family. To this day, I call Ellen Magliaro my mother. My mom legitimately passed away when I was a sophomore in high school, which would be 1989. So I went motherless for a very long time, for basically a 9, almost 10 year span, and then that family came into my life. They treat my two kids, that whole family treat my two kids as if they're really their nephew and niece, and really their that they're their that Ellen is their grandmother. I can't tell you how two lives are lost to bring back lives. You know what I'm saying? So when that's, I know I jump ahead, but when people say, do you regret anything you've done in this sport? And I have no regrets, absolutely none in this sport. Because I wouldn't have the life I have now. I was meant to be where I'm sitting right now. This is just all meant to be. Didn't have to go to the big time. When I look at, it's funny, that if you Google me and you see what my net worth is, I'm worth 2.5 million. I wish I was worth 2.5 fucking million dollars. But thank you, internet, for making me look like I'm rich. I'm rich in friends. I'm rich in memories. Here's a kid that got pulled out of his high school graduation line and said, turn the other way. And my principal proudly patted me on the back and told me the only way I was getting a diploma was graduating high school. And that school was so negative that I had a science teacher who fucking failed me because we didn't get along. And when he found out that I was going into the Navy, he told me I was going into the wrong line of service. He's like, no, you should become a Marine and they should put you on the front line. The front line is the guys that get killed right away.
Right.
So that teacher right there told me my life was fucking worthless. So to ask to say, what motivated you to do this? Or some people do that. You know what motivated me to do this? Was people like those two motherfuckers and people like my mother, who, when she passed away, her dying wishes was for me to graduate high school. And I took it to one more step above that. Negativity fueled my fucking tank of positivity. And I wasn't going to let anything hold me back. I wasn't even probably meant to be born after some of the stories my father and mother told me. My mother was drugged with two hits of LSD 7 months deep into her pregnancy. She should have lost me. But here I am talking to you, telling you the great stories that I have and what professional wrestling means to me, that no matter where I went, how far in this business, how much money I made, I'm still richer than the average bear, and I still went further than the average indie wrestler.
Wow. So how did you introduce the name into wrestling? Did you just come out the next match, introduce that, or did you introduce it in a certain way?
No, it was a show we hosted at the Good Time Emporium. And it was a fundraiser for Jeff Mangles, a fallen pro wrestler who broke his two fibulas, or the top part of his leg, his fibulas, or the tip, whatever the big bones are on the top part where your thighs are. Those would be your tibias or your fibulas.
I'm not sure. It sounds right to me. One of them.
Okay, so
I think one's the front, one's the back, isn't it?
That would be the bottom of the leg, tibula and fibula. I believe so. That would be the back. That would be the bottom part of the leg. I believe the top is one single bone, if I'm not mistaken. He broke both of them by doing a moonsault to the outside. Jeff Mangles was his name was the Prodigy, and his name was the Prodigy for a fucking reason. He was George Napolitano's right-hand trainee. He was like 6 years old, already taking pictures outside the ring. He was groomed to be in this business. He already knew more people in Japan and connections in Japan by the age of 10 that I know to this day at the age of 49. So Jeff was meant to be in the business. Jeff wrestled a match for Fred Yale in Connecticut and did a moonsault the outside, and was the old school rings that are real tall. No pads on the outside. Instead of going straight, he flew off to the right-hand side. The kid who went to catch him froze because he wasn't there. And in his brain, he's going, holy shit, he's not anywhere near me. So with him freezing, he got to him not in time. He ended up bouncing off the kid's arm and falling flat to the ground and busting his busting the bones on the top of his leg. So Jeff didn't have money at the time, and I love Jeff. He's a brother, and I wanted to be there to raise money for him because I was still in denial that I wasn't going to be able to wrestle this individual anymore. We had some we had great chemistry in the ring. Great chemistry. He lived on the same oath as me. Let's go out there. How long do we have? What do you want for a finish? Okay, no problem. Go out there. We tie up and just flow. We didn't need to call shit. Just went with it. And the crowd will dictate to you what they want to see. And that, I'm sorry, but that's the art and that's the painting that I like to paint when I'm in the ring. I'm freestyle. I'm versatile.
So how did you get to the junior heavyweight title from there?
All right, here we go. So now I become the proprietor of the NWA New England. And what that gives to me is the power to be part of these stupid ass board meetings once a year at a convention for a bunch of guys that pretend to be wrestling promoters. Except for a few, there are a few good ones out there. But the majority of these guys are fucking clowns.
How many people are there? When you
there was a lot. There's only a few pure dudes that I felt that were like real, that weren't clowns. You know what I mean? Richard,
it's like 100 people or like 20 people.
30 people or so.
Like 30 people. Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea in my head about how many.
Former President Richard Oppens, a close dear friend of mine. He's not a clown. You know, there's some clowns. As put over as Bill Behrens is, Bill Behrens just believes and eats his own hype. But on the other hand, I guess a great guy, but he believes he eats his own bologna sandwiches and drinks his own Kool-Aid to wash it down. It was, I think it was an excuse to get away from your wife and loved ones for 3 days, have some shows, have some fun. I don't really think they were there to try and make money, in my honest opinion. There was some that were, like I said, the best guy I met from there that is a true dude was Richard Oppen. True guy, like holds no punches. Like,
does he run something?
He was NWA Tri-States.
Tri-States.
If anybody listens to this right now, we just started a GoFundMe for Richard. Richard has been fighting cancer for about 6 years. He's now to the point where the kidney and dialysis that he's having, the state of West Virginia no longer is respecting his insurance, and that stuff can be awful expensive. So we're trying to raise money for a great guy to, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got grandchildren. He loves watching his grandchild right now, who I believe is around 10 or 11 years old, and he's into the amateur style wrestling like my son is at 6. Just a great all and out guy. Man, $5, $10, anything that adds up.
What is it? GoFundMe?
It's a GoFundMe, man.
What is it? Say it again.
Richard Arpin, and it was made by Mickey Biggs.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you had it out there. I didn't.
Yep, we're trying to raise money for his cancer, supplies. Is
that all you put in? Is Richard Arpin?
I believe so. Yep, I believe so.
ARPIN.
ARPIN. Yep, Richard Arpin.
Okay. I'll put it up on the screen. I just want to make sure I spell it right.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I mean, I met a lot of good people in the NWA, but not the promoters. Like the talent, I met a lot of good talent. I was there to witness the night I won my first NWA World Junior Championship. I was there the night the fucking boys, we gave AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels a standing ovation. You know, they were the main event night one at the WrestlePlex in Florida, and they knocked it out of the park. Their match
What was that, like the 52nd or something? 50.
Oh. Me and Bo Douglas main evented either the 50th or the 56th. I can't remember. There's been so many.
That was one of them, though, right? One of the 50
It was
shows.
in Florida. It was in Florida, and I'd have to say it was between, say, like 2000 and 2002.
Okay.
Florida WrestlePlex.
So
I was in a 5-way with Lex Lovett, Jet Jaguar, and a couple of other dudes.
Yeah, that's when you won the junior heavyweight title the first time, right?
First time, yes, sir.
And that's how it came about. Just you went to the big meeting. They decided they were going to put it on you.
All right. So, guy named Howard Brody, who's another guy that's a really good guy, not a clown, true promoter. He started booking me for NWA Florida, put me in a program originally with Jet Jaguar. From Jet Jaguar, he built me down in Florida to work with Lex Lovett. And Lex was in the WWE's eye, and he was a TNA worker for a little while. He did a cheerleading gimmick with his wife. He held her on a chair a few times. So, me being a wrestler and me holding a vote on the board, and I'll just put it to you that way.
All right.
My vote means a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they came to me with the proposal.
Now, I believe after that, did that leave to the Jersey J Cup? Right around that same time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, like, when I tell people that, I'm like, they wouldn't just give the belt to a shithead. They knew I was, Howard knew I was already out there traveling and understood that you got to spend money to get noticed. And he was putting me in there with his best Florida.
Well, you make it sound so easy. That's why I asked about it. How did you end up with the belt?
Yeah.
You're like, well, I was on the board and I had a vote. I'm like, well, there had to be more to it than that. Obviously, they're putting the strap on you.
Yeah. I just wasn't some idiot. Yes.
Right. You were deserving of it, obviously. There's more
he helped.
To it than that.
Yes. He helped build my character. He got me booked by a lot of people. I owe a lot to
you were traveling, you were putting your money in your gear.
Yep.
You know, there was more to it.
I think the reason why I say that is because there's people out there that truly believe that just because I was a board member, they said, hey, for his one lousy vote, let's give him the title. Number one, if it was like the junior heavyweight, like Mid-South championship, I would believe that. But we're talking about that still at the time had more viewership and more notoriety at the time still than the NWA world title in Japan, because Tiger Mask was still relevant.
Right, they're bringing it back now. I think Billy Corrigan's bringing it back now, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think he's having a tournament right now for it.
Yeah, somebody put on their website that you should get in contact with Jason Rumble for this.
Yeah, there you go.
So
go get it.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, so basically that's how I got it. Like Howard Brody built me, presented me to the board, and at the plus side said, hey, his vote is willing to help with keeping what we have right now. And that's what they were interested in. They were interested in making sure that they had enough votes to keep the power that they had going. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really care. I was like, fuck, I'm going to be the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Where do I sign? Gave my vote. Said, thank you very much, guys. Where do I need to be? Went
Right.
down to the convention, had my booking, made my vote that Saturday morning, and the rest is history.
Now, how did you get into Jersey J Cup?
A guy named Fred Rubenstein, who was like the super ref for the NWA. And
Any
Fred,
stories about that?
yeah, when we first went there, I made a great impression. I brought the masshole Mike McCarthy with me. I brought Trooper Gilmore with me.
Knoxville. I still call him Knoxville.
Yeah. I brought Knoxville with me. I brought Trooper Gilmore with me. Bo Douglas was with me. And needless to say, when we hit the Jersey J Cup for that first time, my Trooper Gilmore's truck looked like a fucking scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Sounds like it.
And I left a lasting impression. Then the next time we went down after the Jersey J Cup, that's when Knoxville broke in down there, became an incredible star. Fucking kid is so crazy. Ricky O tells him, "All right, this is what I want you to do," because they had seen how crazy he was at the first show. So he told me, Ricky O goes, "Bring him back. We got some good shit we're gonna do with him." So he goes. His first scene was, "Who wants to see me play punk rock soccer?" So there's a bunch of Spanish dudes playing soccer in the venue where the wrestling show is being held. You know, like legit soccer, whole 9 yards, people watching. Mike McCarthy runs onto the field, grabs the fucking ball, starts running off. And this is how you play punk rock soccer. Dun, 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 dun. So we started doing jackass fucking things for him because of the Knoxville thing. Next time we go there, he shoots a vignette and it's punk rock paintball. They get the gun away from him. Oh my God. Fucking kids started getting pelted in the nuts and the face, the whole, he had everybody dying. So Knoxville became a star there. I worked a couple of times, but Knoxville's the one that knocked it out of the park. His character was, he was a good character for what they were building for television. And they had a lot of good guys. And Ricky O's a good friend of mine. I love Ricky O. But there was, I wasn't I didn't like someone. I didn't get. I can't say I didn't like. I didn't get. I felt I did not blend well with some
You
of the
didn't
people.
mesh in?
I didn't mesh well with some of the people that was in his locker room. And as crazy as Knoxville is, Knoxville was trying to break in even more. You know what I mean? This was his first feet getting wet, being outside Rhode Island in that New England area.
Yeah.
Going to Jersey and knowing who, these people are and whatnot. So yeah, I'm glad he flourished with them. I worked a few different times and like I said, I just didn't, their locker room wasn't my cup of tea.
Didn't you go to TNA, do something with TNA too?
All right. So TNA, when they first started, yeah, I worked for TNA. I was on their roster as far as PWI was concerned.
Really?
Yeah, I was listed on NWA TNA roster, Jason Rumble. And then me and Bo Douglas used to be in the top 10 of the NWA rankings all the time. Back on the PWIs.
You were in NWA, just not NWA TNA, right?
Technically to them, I was.
You only made an appearance on TNA, right? Was it one appearance?
Nope. I made 6.
6. Holy. Okay. Well, let's hear about these.
All right. 2 were against James Storm. Then I did a tag team match against James Storm and his tag team partner. And then I worked with The what's their names there? Wrong Killings, BG
BG
and
James.
BG James and Conan. And I got to
Oh
work
yeah,
all
when they
those
were the
guys. I got to work all those guys singularly too.
they were three
I worked,
LK, L3K
yeah,
or whatever the hell they were.
yeah, ML, yeah, 3 LK,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever the
something
hell
like
they were.
that.
Yeah.
So I worked all them guys. I worked the tag teams all in singles. I was supposed to fight. I was supposed to wrestle Hurricane Chris, whatever his was, but I ended up having to work Storm twice.
Chris
But then I
Walker,
ended
was it? No, not Chris Walker.
James Storm and Chris, some like
Yeah,
Wolf. Or,
Chris Harris.
yes, that's it. And Harris ended up being injured the second time I went. So I ended up working with James Storm again.
He
And
faded away, huh? He was.
he's out on the, he's part of that narrative thing.
Oh, is he?
Yep, and he's working the indies. I follow him on Facebook, and he's still in great shape.
Oh, he was
Bumping,
gone for a while.
yep. Uh, but yeah, I did 6 things with them.
Okay, any stories from there or anything, memories or anything from there?
Uh my first few times it was just like going over to the what they had for catering, which was this little shack, but it was an old school Tennessee barbecue shack. And this lady served pulled pork sandwiches and beans for the boys all day. And it was some of the best food I ever had. Uh, Getting to when TNA first started, I lived there for 8 weeks and I didn't get anything on the pay-per-views. But I lived there for 8 weeks. But I was still in between from being on their pay-per-views. I had bookings around there, so that's how we were paying for rooms. So the rooms would be $50 a night, $300. There was 6 of us living in a room. So with the 6 of us, we'd all pay one night, and then the 7th night, we'd all throw in $8 a piece or whatever it was. So it was like $60 a week to live there, and then you ate on your own food. And there was a Golden Corral right down the street. So almost every night, that's where we went to eat if we weren't wrestling that night and off in a different town. But I went 8 weeks without getting a booking on the TNA thing, and then I just went home. And that's
You
when they
also
were
did
doing the
a
pay-per-views.
WWE Master Lock Challenge or something around this time, didn't you?
All right, my tryout with the WWE that got scrapped because, quote unquote, they felt that the crowd would know who I was. So I got scrapped from the
So you didn't
angle,
even
and
do it.
nope, I didn't even do it. They scrapped me from it, and Jimmy Jack Cash ended up doing the angle because they felt that because he looked more like a prototypical fan at that point in time. Because Jimmy Jack Cash at one point in time was in great shape, but he got kind of dumpy looking, and all he had was a tan, so he looked like a powerhead guinea from Boston. So what a perfect plan! So that's why they went with him. Tommy Dreamer told me right to my face. He goes, they feel that he goes when you go in the ring, that they feel that the crowd, the average person in this building is going to know who you are when you go into the ring, and they're not. And the persona for somebody doing that angle wasn't met. They wasn't going to be. You know what I mean? Especially imagine if I got over,
Right.
started chanting my name while this dude's
Yeah.
got that master lock on me. So that was a big thing. They felt like I could get over with the crowd.
So were you still running NWA New England at this time?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I didn't
When
give
did
up on.
what
What
When
year
did that
did
stop?
I? See, I remember I'm such a mushhead. I remember everything by what I was doing in life. And at that point in time, when I gave up the NWA rights to promote the New England area, I was filming the movie The Game Plan. So I'd
Well,
have to.
NWA Fire was 2008 to 2010. So,
Okay, so I gave up on that probably 2005.
all right.
Fire had. Can I tell you something? NWA Fire. I helped Mario promote right from the beginning. I booked right from the beginning, right to the very last show. They never paid rights to NWA on Fire. Was not a territorial part of NWA. All Mario came in to do is he swooned the name. He stole the name, the NWA, from those guys because he said it. He was obviously he gets the footage. That stuff was being what's that called there? Uh,
Grandfathered?
it was being seen all over Puerto Rico, and it was being syndicated to television networks, just like as if you would watch Ring of Honor. Now how Ring of Honor's on
Yeah.
Nesson?
Yep.
They did the same thing with NWA on Fire. And the way that they got it on is because I used to do some of the commentary at times when I
Yeah.
wasn't wrestling. So I do the commentary for Tommy. I even went to the Jersey studios and I did commentary for the library. So
All that stuff
they,
so shady, like like that ICW, IWCCW stuff. For
yep,
years, everybody always said nobody owns the rights to it, and USWA from the
it's
thing.
all
Like,
owned, it's all owned by the Savoldis. If Tony Rumble was alive today and he knew about a website that contained the stuff that he booked, he basically had a handshake and verbal agreement with Mario that anything he wrote and produced was his property also.
yeah,
So I believe if Ellen really wanted to, you know, if she had it in her, she could probably sue,
yeah,
you know, but you're probably going to stay tied up in court battles for a long time.
yeah, for years over it.
Yeah. So what does it do? It does nothing. Uh, if the internet and the value of the film and the value of the footage was, say, done 25 years ago, now we're talking a whole different game. Or 20 years ago, because Tony's only been passed away since '99. So say 15 years ago, 2005 ish. And then even if you fought 10 years, you get the money in 2015. But the internet and things of that nature, streaming and the whole 9 yards, building these online libraries wasn't the thing.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. What is let's get into NWA on Fire. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've only seen very little of it.
So the Savoldis are carnies, and I love them to death. And what they do is they go to different territories. They grab footage, and the footage they grab is not footage that they care about having a library for. The library is just a plus. Everywhere they syndicate those TV shows to, they have what is called a commercial platform, where the commercials that they put on are all them 1-800 infomercials. And those 1-800 call me now, I'm lonely. Now, evidently, when those ads go out, when those calls are traced, they can tell exactly what programming they were watching. And what happened is they not only get paid to air those commercials, they get paid a percentage when they know it came out in that demographic of the United States. Yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
that is, yeah, they're carnies, man. They could care less about the wrestling footage. When I tell you some matches were the absolute drizzling dog shits, they'd still put it on. They'd find a way to cut it and done it and make it look right. But their main objective was to put those commercials that they were fucking making tons of money off of on that product. So
Yeah.
what'd you say? They went 2008 to 2010, you said?
Yeah.
Yep, that's about their time. Plus, the old guys were getting old. That drive was getting hard. They had just basically come home from being in Puerto Rico for like an 8-year span. So then they do that 2 years of coming from Jersey all the way up here, all the way up to Maine, and touring in Maine twice a month, anywhere from 3 shows to a weekend to 2 shows to a weekend. You know,
Yeah. It gives you enough footage, probably 2 years of footage.
oh, buddy, their library is huge. And then what they did was is they got in with Ricky O, and once they got in with Ricky O got them connections, and then then Ricky O parted ways with them. So they were running shows in Jersey, getting footage now. So they moved on to a whole new territory. They were working Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware. So now they broke in. The reason why they came back to Maine is because they had Sonny Roselli that they thought was going to help promote these shows and do the best he could. And at the same time, when they would try to do a big show, they would talk Sonny into co-promoting it with them. Sonny, they would lose money, and Sonny would get all bullshit. So, and they thought because they had cultivated this area before that they were just going to come back in here and bring back crowds of 200, 300 people because, ooh, the Savoldis are back in town. Nobody knew who the Savoldis were, you know?
So at some point you went into NECW also, right?
Yeah,
With Sheldon.
yeah. I went in with Sheldon. You know, I'm great friends with Sheldon, but Sheldon's never came out and said anything after watching me say this, but I know for fact because he had said it to people that the Jason Rumble will never work for NECW. He's one of the guys that was sore about me taking Tony's name and believed I shouldn't have carried it on. But he's somebody who I swayed to prove that I was worthy of carrying his name on. And as long as Ellen wanted me to carry that name, why should it be a problem of his? You know what I mean? So I was able to sway Sheldon like me. I mean, and I know Sheldon liked me because every convention I went to, Sheldon would end up at. He was best friends with Howard Brody, but he would be right by my side. So Sheldon was always there to protect me. But I understand he was bitter that his friend passed away, one of his best friends, and
Yeah.
to take on his name. And at the same time, he didn't get along with Ellen, so he didn't know any of the backstory. He just thinks I'm some fucking young kid that talked my way into it, which is the furthest thing from the truth. Like I told you the truth, and I've told him the truth. A lot of people know the truth, and I never did any of that. I was handed that name. I was told to not refuse them, as I said earlier. But you know, I go in and I get to work with Fandango, Johnny Curtis, on his last match on the Indies.
Was that
That
his
was my
last
first.
match?
Yep,
Wow.
NECW, and then he was flying to Florida to be part of Florida Championship Wrestling. The reason being that I did not stick around, Paul Richards was hugely in favor of me. He was one of the big advocates for me to be on the shows. Is Bob Evans, who was still at that time, had a huge pull with Sheldon. And Bob didn't like me. I don't know why, but later on in life, Bob and I are friends, and we worked each other a couple of years back at the Farmington Fair. Had a great time. So I think at times I think that because you partake in a little marijuana, people read and perceive you to be the devil. So, and Bob is one of those guys.
Yeah, sometimes just like it rubs people the right way, like you said with Tony earlier, sometimes it rubs people the wrong way.
Yep. So, yeah, I that was my first encounter with NECW. So then me and Damon, Doc, and Angelo are like, man, how can we reinvent ourselves, have a good time, and have a good tag team? And Damon's like, I want to do a character that's like Gorgeous George. And I go, dude, how about I do a character that because you're gay, you're my best friend, but I really don't know you're gay. I'm just a fucking happy, stupid dude. That I'm so beautiful that I have no brains. All the blonde hair's gone to my head. It's like, that's awesome. So we start designing the gear. I made velvet, long ones, tight, that look like Triple H's old velvet trunks from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So he's got old school purple trunks with nothing on them. And they're not the spandex, it's the old school material. He's got the trace knee pads on, white low boots, and over his boots, he has leg warmers like from Saturday Night Fever. Like he's Olivia Newton-John. And we debuted the characters at Ringside Entertainment in 2009, December 12th. And the night and day sticks vividly in my mind because my dog had puppies that day, and my wife helped deliver the last 3 because my dog gave up on delivering the puppies, and my wife was on the phone with me while I was at the wrestling show, and she was in hysterics that she was a doctor that night. And God bless her, she trooped through it and did what she had to do. But the team of the bold and the beautiful was born that evening. And we wrestled in Everett, and we got the heat that we were looking for and we were just experimenting. Me and Damon always wanted to be a tag team together, but we always made such great opponents that it was so hard to say, how can you take a strong match and put them together?
Right. But they usually make the best ones because then down the road you can split apart and do it all over again.
Yeah. Which we were supposed to go with an angle in NECW, but I'll get to that after. So he was starting to hang out with Paul Richards. He was in Paul Richards' ear. He's like, Paul, we got a fucking great gimmick. We'd be great pot. And Paul used to say, I don't know. He goes, Damon, it's easy to get you in. But he goes, Sheldon just has something against Jason. So finally I go, Damon, why don't we just show up at the next show and I'll talk to Sheldon? Because, he talks to me civilly, and I'll just take him aside. So I go, Sheldon, listen. I go, I know you don't want me to use the Rumble name, but I really want to get booked for you. Here's what, we've been telling Paul that Damon and I are doing. He's dialing Damon, and I'm Bad Boy Jason. And together we are known as the Bold and the Beautiful. I go, I'm not the Boston Bad Boy, Jason Rumble. I am Bad Boy Jason. I go, it's a totally different character. So he goes, Jason, we're having a booking meeting next week. It sounds good, but the name sucks. We'll come up with something new. We'll talk to you soon. So they stop brainstorming over at NECW. Finally, we find out that they come up with the name of the Crown Jewels. And right away, I'm a rhymer. I'm like, only fools mess with the jewels. You know, and I started coming up with all rhymes with the jewels. So at first, the original manager was supposed to be Brian Cairo.
Wow.
Okay. But I'm going to be honest with you. No, this is just no disrespect to Brian Cairo. But Brian Cairo never, in my estimation, would have got us the same heat that Tony Ulysses got us. Tony's look, he looked like the black guy from that fucking 80s movie, The Mannequin That Came to Life. I think it was Weird Science. It might have been Weird Science, but I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, though. So
Tony just had that look. And Tony's and because of the gay phobia that the crowds do have, no matter how much they want to deny it, when they seen that fucking dude come out, they thought he was 100% gay, and he's black. And I'm not going to say everybody's racist, but, you know, let's just call it spade a spade.
It adds to it.
It adds to it. There we go. It just adds to the heat. And then you got a guy who's skipping and wearing a gorgeous George robe and a big designer barrette holding his hair together that looks like a fucking peacock hairdo. I come out, I'm spraying the fucking I'm spraying the mist like I think I'm fucking like I think I'm what's his name? Rick Martel.
Rick Martel.
I got the fur jacket on, the aviator glasses. Meanwhile, they think I'm gay. You know what I mean? So they're like, look at these three fucking and they're just a story right there, man. So, like, you know, we knew we had that crowd because of the way the Quincy Armory was set up. You'd be backstage.
And who was this for? Was this for NECW?
NECW, man. That's what
we went to the booking meeting and they did let you guys in? They just come up with the Crown Jewel name?
They came up with the...
were you Bad Boy Jason? You were Bad Boy Jason?
I was bad. It was Bad Boy Jason, Darling Damon, Bad Boy Jason.
Right from the beginning, though. I didn't know if you had to change it later or what it was. Okay.
No, I before he even would let me in the door, they changed everything. I think from the time I proposed it to the time they brought us in was probably about 2 to 3 months. But with that being said, we are still to this day the longest reigning NECW tag team champions in that company's history.
So now by this point, NWA New England had closed, right?
Oh, well, yes, definitely. So NWA New England was closed by, I'd have to say we was closed doors by between 4, no later than 6.
So how did that come about?
The Jewels didn't start until 2009, December of 2009. How did what come about?
And that closing down, it just slowly closed down, or?
I got smart to the game. I didn't I went through the whole period that NWA TNA was supposed to do something for our companies and build houses because our show was going to be on this ticker. Our world title is noticed or blah blah blah. Buddy, at first a lot of that was to a pay-per-view that you had to pay fucking 10 to what $5 or $10 for. People weren't buying that, so people weren't seeing our shit as much as people want to feed you that crap.
Right. So the
You know,
NWA thing just wasn't working out. So you were like,
yeah. After a while, once it was 2005, it seemed like I was just generating money to go out to a convention just to have a wrestling match, and it seemed like the votes were fictitious. The money that you were paying to be part of said company brought no extra credibility to when you promoted shows. Nobody cared about, as far as I'm concerned, nobody cares about three letters. They read live pro wrestling. That's what they're going to see. Unless you're the WWE or unless you're like AEW, like nobody cares what the three little letters are. Or New Japan. Like, you know what I'm saying? On an independent level, when they see a poster at a fucking convenience store, they don't give a shit about they don't even read what the promotion is. They look at the guys and go, "Oh wow, look at that! Oh, where's it gonna be? What day is it?" You know, there's
where is it?
so
Is it close to me?
yep. So like they don't, as far as I'm concerned, they don't care about the letters.
So NECW, you stayed there for a while. You were there for a couple of years, right?
I was there for about. I went there. Me and Damon decided to leave because we felt that when they had us drop the titles, that all of a sudden they were dropping us from relevancy. So Damon and I decided to pack up and bring our talents to. I sound like LeBron James, and we brought our talents to NWA on Fire. And by the second booking, we were the NWA on Fire Tag Team Champions.
And that was the 2008 we were talking about.
No, because the crown jewels weren't born until 2009.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you were at NWA, then you went to NECW, then back to NWA as a tag team.
I just brought Damon in. I was already I was already a competitor from the beginning of 2008.
You just never left.
And
yeah.
I had my own singles career, and Damon and I just were tagging in ECW. But
so you were tagging there in singles and tagging tag team outside of there, and then you brought him in as a tag team.
Exactly. Right. I go, Mario, I got a whole different gimmick and a whole different thing I want to do. You want to bring us in? He goes, hey, Jason, just get me a tape and let me see this kid. So I put it on, and he was fucking, he's like, Jason, that's Tony Ulysses in there with you. Can you get him too? And I was like, I go, Mario, Tony ain't coming up here for peanuts like you get us. He goes, you get me in contact with Tony Ulysses, and I'll get him to come up here with you guys. Gave him Tony Ulysses' contact, and before you knew it, Tony Ulysses calls me and was like, Rumble, I'm driving up with you and Damon. We're having a road trip. And the rest is history.
This is the Hardcore Nightmare, the original Beast of New England. I'm here to tell you, follow my boy on Chop Videos. Hit the like button. You can find me on @BullDread on Instagram or Michelangelo Kalo, a.k.a. the original Beast of New England on Facebook, or @BullDread on Twitter. Woo!
Hello, wrestling fans. This is Brickhouse Baker, 2008 New England Hall of Famer. I need you people to do me a favor. I need you to go to Chop's Video and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Again, that's Chop's Videos. Go check this out because this guy's got some really good stuff from back in the day. Peace out. I am the Underground King, SWB, New England Hall of Famer, Test of Strength founder and head coach. Looking for classic wrestling videos featuring New England Hall of Famers and legends? Check out Chop's videos on YouTube.